Hi, my name is Jada Herbert, and I will be doing a video lecture on the separation of powers within the three branches of our government. So, what are the branches and how are they set up? The three branches of our government consist of the legislative branch, the judicial branch, and the executive branch. Each of these branches has its own group of people within the branch that help the branch run smoothly. The legislative branch is consisted of Congress, and their job is essentially to create laws and sort of think about what can help our country run smoothly and everything. The judicial branch is consisted of the Supreme Court and other state courts that are within everything. And their job is essentially to analyze each of these laws that Congress makes and make sure that they don't go against the U.S. Constitution. So that way we can keep our country running in the ideas that our founding fathers had them. Next is the executive branch, and that consists of the president, the vice president, its cabinet, everybody like that. Their job is essentially to write laws into actual laws that people have to follow within our country. We have the three branches set up so that way our government is run equally, so not one specific group is running the country, and so that there's no ill intent within our government. Now, does our separation of power work? For the most part, I believe that it does, simply because we have certain measures that we have set in place so that it can run smoothly. For example, judicial review. We have judicial review to make sure that the judicial branch can also make sure that all of the other branches, the legislative branch and the executive branch, are within the Constitution and don't try to do anything or act out in a way that goes against the Constitution and the ideas of our founding fathers. Now, despite us having that type of measurement, there are times where it appears as though certain branches do more or have more work than the other branches. For example, the legislative branch. Because of the media, a lot of attention has been on the legislative branch, more specifically, Congress and the things that happen within there and the things that they want to do. On the topic of media, I believe that media, most of the affairs that we have within our government, gets covered by the media at some point in time, which means that other people see what happens within our government. Because other people see what happens in our government, they tend to question the other branches on how certain things are allowed to happen, forgetting that there's only so much that the other branches can do. For example, more recently, the ban on TikTok. A lot of videos have surfaced that Congress is trying to ban TikTok. They've actually succeeded in trying to ban TikTok, but a lot of media has covered the ban and everything, and how Congress is doing this, that, and the third, how they question the CEO of TikTok and things of that nature. And when people see that type of thing, because media does tend to have a negative influence on people, it tends to make them think, how could the president allow this to happen? How could the courts allow this to happen? Isn't this something that's unconstitutional? However, it is sometimes forgotten in situations like that every other branch has their own job to do in these situations. They also have other jobs that they need to take care of with other world affairs. And there's only so much they can do because each branch has a specific power. And sometimes they can't overstep and get into the powers of the other branches, because then that would cause a shift in everything. With all that being said, how does the government display their separation of power? Because they do. I would say the government does make an attempt to at least show that there is not some type of skew within the government. And ways they do this, they talk about how when a president gets impeached, when Congress wants to impeach a president, they talk about when Congress has to pass a bill over to the president after it's passed through the Supreme Court. They talk about how the Supreme Court sometimes recognizes when Congress or anybody within the executive branch is out of line and being unconstitutional. These are things that we all hear about, whether it's through the media, through other forms, through talk within other people. There's all things that we hear about, making sure that the government makes it known that they are in fact making an attempt to prevent any type of skew happening within said government, and that everybody can see that every branch is following what they are intended to do and not jumping over into other people's business or jobs or things like that. One more important thing to remember is that everyone views things differently. Some people think that our government is skewed, some people don't. With that, you have to learn to understand and respect another person's opinion on that, because sometimes they'll provide hard proof that, yeah, our government is skewed, or no, it's not skewed. But even still, making sure that we all understand whether somebody believes that it's skewed or not can help us, move together and really make sure that nothing actually happens within our government that causes it to be corrupt or skewed or anything of that nature. So that's my presentation on the separation of powers within a government. Thank you so much.